All right, so buckle up here, youngins, because this one's going to be some information you probably have never heard before. All right, so here we go. This was on the news the other day. Yesterday, a matter of fact. Missing 9-year-old. Well, of course, you can read into that right away because we all know what we're talking about here. Is found after spending 2 nights lost in the woods with no shoes on. That was on all over the news. Okay, so what is the deal with that? Well, we know what the 9 is, and we know that it's all pedophilia. But where does that come from? Where does that come from? So we're gonna go to the next picture. Death row, 33 degrees. So the first thing you think is 33-degree masonry, right? Well, you're in the right ballpark, but I'm going to explain to you what this 33 degree. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, it goes along the 33rd degree." There's these people always say that. They always say, there's these points along the Earth on the 33rd degree. No. That's not it. So you're going to have to think here for a second. The 33 degrees, the reason it's called death row, is because it's a 33rd degree parallel universe. That thing that they call Nibiru, it's not a planet. It's another place, and it's sits right off the Earth. Just off, if you're looking at that map, right off to the side, like the left. So here's what the deal is. There's 33 levels of enlightenment. There's 33 levels of declination. In other words, going down. Okay? If you look at this picture over here from the video I showed you, I want you to look very closely, because this picture is associated with this picture, and I'll tell you why. If we look at this background, you'll understand. You notice they're not on a cruise ship, and it's all white back there, but actually it's that's not on a horizon. This is very hard for you to understand. They're in between realities. In between degrees. They're in between. Like two realities, they're like in between it. So you got the first degree, second degree, third degree, going off to the left and then going off to the right, or up or down. These guys are here. We are under the Silver Lake. See where they're at? See that background? So imagine that we're under the Silver Lake because that's where we're at. Now, how does this tie into all of this? Okay, so the guys that are tied in on the 33rd parallel universe is where she sends them when they're really fucked up. Okay, now I'm not saying about you. This has nothing to do with Christianity. It has to do with them and their organization. So when you look at this picture, the first thing you're going to see is the black and the white, and that's your pseudo Masonic Egyptian Hebrew tie-in. Okay, so it says under the Silver Lake. The guy's got a gun pointed at his head, and if we look at this right here, what does it say? It says no one will ever be happy here until all the dogs are dead. So everybody's going to be scratching their heads trying to figure out what the fuck that is. Then you got this cop here, right? And he's got a 7-pointed star. And I know this for fact. A 7-pointed star with a circle in the middle it is a symbol for pedophilia. Now, that doesn't mean that every guy that wears it isn't a pedophile. But if you look in the background here, you see the color, the turquoise? See it? Okay. So, the guys that are off to the left, that are in the really bad places, work through this side to get these kids to do this shit to them. The kids come back after a couple of days with amnesia because, well, that's what happens. Okay? Now, let's just jump back over here for a minute. Under the Silver Lake is below this is below this reality. All right? It's below this reality. This is her. This is the woman. All right? That's her. Lilith, mom, whatever you want to call her. What's the deal with this? All right, so this is where this comes in. The guys, hang on a second. I hate when this thing freezes up like this. Give it a minute. There we go. The guys that grab the kids are called owl dogs. Now, that song by Garfunkel, or whatever the fuck his name is, You Can Call Me Al. Remember that one? Or Paul McCartney, Uncle Albert. Yeah, okay. So these guys are called owl dogs. She's the one that's in charge of this. The reason he's got a gun to his head is because he wants to kill himself. Okay? No one will be happy until all the dogs are dead. The owl dogs. The guys that are under her control, all right, are the ones that are doing the dirty work for her and the dudes in the 33rd parallel reality or universe. Okay, this just happened a day ago. I mean, you can go back through the news articles. This happens all the time where these kids walk out of the woods, or they wind up miles away and nobody can figure it out. So when you look at this, the dogs are talking about they're talking about the pedophiles. And there's a specific group, and if you know what this turquoise is, and you know what that symbol is up there, you'll know who you're talking about. You get it? You following along here? I know it's a lot of weird shit to throw at you at once. So the 33rd degree north is not 33rd degree masonry. It's the 33rd parallel universe. And you've seen this word before, so I'll just spell it out for you because it's where they're at. Nibiru isn't a planet. It's that thing that's sitting off the side of the earth, just 30 it's just off of there. I mean, I could show you pictures and you'll see it, and it's the same color codes, it always is, but it's there. And that's where them dudes is at. And so those guys work through their veil to this side to grab those kids, to do the stuff to the kids, right? She's the one that's in control of all of this crap. And I guess the 33rd is the worst. This isn't degrees of masonry, but it's the 33rd parallel universe. Because people say, oh, it's the 33rd parallel. It's the 33rd parallel, all that stuff. Yes, it's the 33rd parallel universe. Because that thing sits off right about there at 33rd, at 33. But it's not on the earth. That thing, I'd call it a ship if you want to. It's like another reality. It's another reality. It's like the fucking cube or whatever. And that's where all them dudes are at. These guys, that isn't, they're not in a lodge. That's not a lodge. That's I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's like in between, how do I put it? Like if you look at a record and then you got the groove and then it goes up to a point and then it goes down into the next groove, it's on, like on the point. It's the space in between. All of those guys are tied into her. The guys that go out and grab the kids and do the shit are called owl dogs. So nobody will ever be happy until all the dogs are dead. In other words, nobody will ever be happy until all the pedophiles are gone. And the fact that they put this sheriff in front of this turquoise, which we know is pedophilia, right? Just hang on. You take a look here. You know, remember, there's codes to all of this. Why would they use that? Well, because they know what it is. They know what it is. That's why they're using it. So when you look at that sign in that movie, now you know. The guys that are grabbing the kids are associated with all this, the 33rd parallel universe, and they're the ones that are grabbing the kids and doing whatever. And this is just another story about a kid that was abducted, sodomized, and released. But these guys aren't just perverts. They're tied into the other side, is my point. They're tied into the other side with her. So this is a weird enough video, so I'm just going to end it right here, but just so you get it. The owl dogs are the ones that grab the kids. They work for these guys, through the veil or whatever you want to call it, for her. So we'll just leave it at that for right now because it's a lot to absorb. Nibiru is like a ship, so to speak. But you can kind of see it. I can show you pictures of it. But you can kind of see it, but it's like in between here and there.